Hey family, it's Tasha, Mom Bear Prepping. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. You already know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up, let's talk about it. Today we're going to talk about 10 emergencies. It's a little bit lighter of a topic, and we're just going to talk about 10 emergency preps that you may have forgotten about. So obviously, if you're seasoned, you might have these things, but you might be surprised there might be something on this list that you haven't explored yet, haven't really gotten yet. And so hopefully this will help you guys as well. And then of course, I'm excited about this video because people learn from the comment section of my videos, you guys. They learn about different things to get. And so obviously this is the time to add to the list your things. Now, we don't need to list all emergency things, right? But especially if it's something that we don't either talk about a lot or we don't, you don't hear a lot of people talking about it on their list of emergency preparedness items, then talk about it in the comments section so that people can learn about that, okay? So let's get into it. My number one thing I have on my list, you guys, that you may have forgotten is a power failure alarm. Basically, those are little alarms that you can buy. There's all types of renditions on the market, okay? If you go to Amazon, there a ton are going to come up, okay? But ideally, it's a little alarm that you plug in, just like a plug-in, like a Glade plug-in that you would plug into your sockets. And what it does is it alarms you if the power goes out. Now, if it's daytime, you're there, you realize the power went out and you're home and you're awake, that's fine. But this is very important for when you're in the middle of the night and you're sleeping, okay? If you wake up to an alarm that the power's going off, that is important because let's say you go to bed, you're totally tired for the day, you knock out and the power goes out fairly early, right? Fairly early in the evening, right after you go to sleep. And then, you don't wake up for another 8-9 hours possibly, let's just say, for example. And then you wake up and you have no idea how long the power's been off. You have no idea where you're at in your emergency preparedness in regards to what you're going to be doing, right? Is it time to plug in a generator? Did it just go off? You have no idea, okay? So the alarm is nice. They're fairly inexpensive. They're not super cheap, but they're not like over the top, you guys. $30, some cheaper, some, more expensive. But get yourself a power out alarm, okay? Plug in. Second thing I have, and I've mentioned this one actually a few times on some other videos, and that is in a fire extinguisher. Super important to be thinking about your grid down safety, any kind of safety when it comes to preparedness, because oftentimes the power is down, it's grid down, and we're now doing things that have upped our level of risk in regards to safety, right? Where all of a sudden we're cooking over a fire or we're cooking over an open flame, some kind of burner. We're possibly using, propane and other fuels, right? Lantern fuels, different things we're all of a sudden incorporating, candles and things like that. And so safety has to be a concern. There's a lot of other safety items that you need to get in your home. But for this list today, fire extinguisher is on the list, okay? So don't forget that. A lot of people don't have that. Even a lot of people just in general don't have that. And that's really an everyday item that should be in your home. Ideally, you should have at least one of these in your home. Somewhere near the kitchen is ideally where you would have it. If I had a kitchen and I had a fireplace or wood stove that I used often, I would probably position mine between those two places so that I can get to it easily and readily, okay? And then you're making sure that the whole family knows where this bad boy is at, okay? Third thing I have that you may have forgotten is a satellite phone. How are you communicating during grid down? Yes, there's all different ways of communication, ham radio, CB radios, all this stuff. But having a basic ability of a sat phone or something along those lines where you have a device that will connect even to your phone, okay, as long as you can keep your phone charged. Yes, there might not be internet, there might not be these other things, right, your actual phone service, but having the ability to get a sat phone that even connects to a cell phone, and as long as you can charge the cell phone to be the thing, you can do chat features and things like that, okay? Or you just all out get sat phones, okay? And so this is an important thing to think about, what you're gonna get, how are you gonna communicate with people. These can be quite expensive, so it's important to figure out what you're gonna do. There's a lot of these though that link to each other and do different aspects to where now you can see if you can talk to your family by you guys both getting one of these devices and then doing a chat feature at a minimum through your cell phones, okay? So think about where your family members are at, people who you're going to want to communicate with. If you have like-minded people, talk to those people, see what they have. Maybe they have the same things. Maybe they just have straight up sat phones with phone numbers. figure out how you could communicate. Maybe it's something simpler, right? But a satellite phone, some capability is important, and a lot of people forget about this. They think about the big things, they get overwhelmed, and then maybe they don't get some things, or maybe they get a couple of smaller things, but it's just not something that is all the way thought through unless that prepper, in my opinion, unless that prepper is really, really versed in that area. It tends to be overlooked by a lot of preppers, you guys, okay? People who prepare. All right, number 4 I have is lanterns and oil, and I'm talking about not your solar lanterns. I'm talking about old school lanterns that take oil, okay? So, overlooked, get you some lanterns, get the oil, stack the oil. Because the thing is if it's long-term grid down, you know, you think about what we used to do, you know, cowboy days, all this stuff. How did they light their homes? How did they see at night? Well, they had lanterns with oil, or they had the fireplace is what they were using for their light, okay? So think about what we used to do and then prep those things. But old-fashioned lanterns and oil lanterns, and you don't have, there's all types of stuff on the market. I'll make sure I link some description stuff. I think I link Dietz lanterns already in my original grid down links at that are on the bottom of every description page, but I'll make sure that if it's not there that I link it today. But getting you, because there's newer versions, there's good stuff, okay? But just my point is, get the original stuff that takes oil, and then stack that oil, stack those lanterns. And then if something happens long term, you literally can take those lanterns and hang them all over the house. You can hang them now and have them staged. I have lanterns, real lanterns staged all over the house. They are part of my normal decor. There's literally one right up there on top of my fridge right there, you guys, okay? But they're all over my house. They're hanging, they're on little tables. You know, they're everywhere. If you really look, you're like, oh, people see them from time to time. I'm like, oh, okay, lanterns. But it just looks like my normal, like I just have some weird type of decor, right? Because it just totally blends in with the rest of the stuff I have. But I have them staged all over the house. Yes, I have solar ones and smaller ones and all types all over the house as well. But these are my long-term lanterns, okay? So think long-term when you're thinking about doing this. Number 5 item that you may have forgotten, tourniquet. Super important item to have in your medical preps. And again, a lot of people buy these little kits, they buy all this medical stuff, and they forget some of the stuff that is like life-changing, okay? You have to have a tourniquet. And what is overlooked with tourniquets is if you're ever in some kind of mass casualty, something crazy has happened, you need more than one of those, okay? One is not going to do it, okay? So just keep in mind that if you're out on any kind of patrol, you're out on any kind of a watch or anything like that, you should always have one of those on you, part of your battle gear, right? Part of your load. However, you need to have more of these, okay? Because if you all of a sudden find yourself in a situation, you may need more. Even people who carry like medical bags and things like that in their car in case they come across anything, it's always important to have more than one in these bags. Don't just have one tourniquet and call it a day, okay? Yes, there's other things that you can use in your environment for tourniquets, belts, strings, things like that. However, if you're gonna do it right. Get these things. If you go to Refuge Medical and you use the code MamaBear, you will get 10% off. And they have all types of medical, they have kits and things like that they sell you guys, but they have all types of individual items that you can just buy directly from them, like tourniquets. And they are good quality tourniquets, okay? So if you do not have that in your kit, that's something you need to concentrate on getting into your preps, you guys. Number 6 thing that is overlooked or you may have forgotten is a sewing kit, right? Maybe you're blessed and you have an actual sewing machine, okay? That is amazing. But at the minimum, everybody should have a small sewing kit. You can buy these a dime a dozen. They're all over the internet. They're all over Amazon. And they'll come in a nice little pack kit that opens up. You'll have 20 plus colors of thread to choose from. All types of scissors, all types of thread, needles, everything you can need, right, is there. Push pins, all types of stuff, okay? So they're very, very easy. You can get them, $10 and up, you guys, depending on what size you want to get. But get you a nice quality sewing kit, because that could take you, spend the $30, $40 so that you get the kit with everything. It has a few buttons, has the push pins, has all types of a little bit of everything that you may possibly need for sewing stuff up. Because let me tell you, if we get to a point where it's grit down or it's total chaos, you know, you're not going to be able to just go to the grocery store, go to the store and get your shirts and get new clothes and things like that. And so you're going to have to be able to, you're going to be wearing hand-me-downs. You're going to be getting clothes that you scavenged out of other homes. You're going to be fixing up your own clothes. You know, you get a hole in your sock, you're going to possibly be, you know, if you don't have a lot of extra socks, or you haven't prepared, or you're not able to scavenge a lot of newer socks, you're going to be sewing that stuff up, okay? That's what we used to do, okay? We didn't throw a shirt away because it got a hole. No, we fixed it, okay? A pair of jeans or something got a hole in it. We just, you know, patched it up, literally with patches, you guys, sewed it on and made it work, okay? And so that's what you have to be ready for and know how to do. And if you don't know how to sew, get one of these kits and just watch some videos on YouTube. I'm sure there's a video on YouTube if you type in how to sew a patch or something, or how to sew, and they'll go through the basics of how you're gonna thread your needle, okay? How you to tie the knot, how to start sewing, okay? I promise you there's somebody out, and I'm saying that with confidence, there's somebody out there that's teaching you how to sew, okay? Basics. If you can get you a sewing machine, right? That's even better, because you can now do much bigger projects, blankets, patching bigger items, right? Faster. You still can do it by hand. It's just going to take you longer, okay? So sewing kit. Number 7 thing I have on the list that you may have forgotten is the importance of extra socks and underwear. Okay, again, you know, a lot of stuff you can scavenge, you can go and get, you know, there's plenty of clothes on this earth, okay, to be able to be okay in this area, I think. However, socks, you're going to want a ton of nice dry socks. Spend the time getting quality socks, because socks are super important. If you're doing any kind of patrols, any kind of walking, hiking, anything, you're going to need socks. Socks wear out fast. You know, I don't know if you've ever noticed, because again, we're so used to getting something and just, if it gets a hole or gets some, we just throw it away and we don't even think about it. Or, you know, the dryer, you know, swallows up those socks. We have all these socks. We just don't even think about it. We just throw them out. Like, I don't know where these extra, you know, these pairs of socks are. I'm just throwing away all these other socks. And before you know it, you've done thrown away 15 pairs of socks, okay? So socks are important. And then, of course, underwear. Nobody's trying to scavenge and wear other people's underwear. Would you? Could you? Of course. But who wants to do that? Okay. So be thinking about underwear. Thing with socks and underwear, especially underwear, is get the sizes, especially for children now. Get the sizes ahead. Just get even a package, right? What's the next size? Okay. What's the next size? Get those and put them in a bin somewhere for a rainy day. Those are like your emergency, you know, total collapse. And then as your child is growing, you have a fresh thing of underwear that you can take out as they're, you know, getting older in size, right? So for children especially, but for you, the rest of the family, the adults, right? Just, you should be stocking extra underwear, extra socks. That stuff you should have in your car. That stuff that you have in your car kit. That stuff you should have in your bug out bag. Very important items for hygiene. People will get sick all the time for hygiene. You know, UTIs and yeast infections and things that people don't want to talk about if you don't keep yourself clean, okay? And having fresh underwear after you've gotten yourself all cleaned up is a must, okay? So you're going to have extra chonies and socks and stuff, okay? You've got to have that. So kind of overlooked, right? Next thing I have, number 8, sandbags. So sandbags is kind of a storm item that, yeah, if you live in an area where there's either known for flooding, hurricanes, even tornadoes a little bit, but mostly hurricane areas and flooding areas, those people, those folks, they're already well versed in sandbags, how to do them, how to set them. Okay, but a lot of people that don't have to deal with sandbags on a regular basis do not know about that. A few people do know about that in California, because obviously we have to deal with a lot of mudslides and things like that because of the fires and what that does to the terrain. But I'm telling you right now, sandbags is a really overlooked type of prep, okay? So at a minimum, get you a few sandbags, right? Fill them up, have a little crash course of, hey, where would you guys as a family put those to protect your current home, right? Maybe you have enough to just put in front of the doors, put in front of the water, you know, the stairs going down into a basement or something, or the crawl space. where are you going to put this? Maybe you have enough to go around the entire house. Maybe it's just to have some to go across your driveway to keep any of the road water out from coming to your house, right? You know, what is it that, and where are you placing these? How many do you need? You'd be surprised how many you need. How are you filling them? How are you getting the filling? Knowing how full to make them, and there is a too full, right? Knowing how to stack them. Those things are important. It's super overlooked. Make sure you get this, okay? This is something that you can do and just have ready. Even if you just say, hey, I'm going to get 6 of these or 8 of these, and I'm just going to get enough for my front door area. Just so you can practice and get these. And then maybe later you get 8 more. Okay, these are going to be the ones for the back doors or whatever doors, the sliding glass door, right? Because one thing is, don't think that because it's never flooded where you're at that it cannot happen. This weather, these weather patterns, weather's getting crazy, you guys. And if you're not starting to follow that and understand that things are happening in places that it doesn't happen, flooding is happening in places it does not happen. And so you need to don't be naive and think, oh, I don't need sandbags. It never floods where I'm at, okay? Do not think about it. Never rains. Well, guess what? If you live somewhere where it never rains and then all of a sudden it starts raining because of weather patterns, that flash flooding is going to happen. And now it's going to be abrupt in your learning curve because all of a sudden something that never flooded ever in life is now, has the potential of flooding. So you want to be ready for all things, okay? And sandbags is an easy way to do that. Number 9 thing I have is fishing gear. A couple poles, right? A couple rods. Get you just a little tackle box. My boy at Prepper Tribe, I asked him one day, I was like, I don't have no fishing gear. I do not know what to do. Where do I start? He was like, go to Walmart. He's like, Walmart has a pretty good supply, especially when you're just starting. Get you some rods and get you some stuff. And they do. They have a ton of stuff, a ton of just different lures. Have fun with it. Get some colorful stuff. Get some variety of stuff. Get you a little fishing kit, okay? If that is too expensive to get some sort of fishing kit, the craft area has nice little things, little craft boxes. Get one of those if it's cheaper, and then fill that with all the fishing stuff, okay? But get you a minimum little fishing kit, right? Some extra spools of the wire, right? The string, the fishing wire. See, I don't even know what it's called, right? But get this stuff and have it, okay? Because it's important to have different ways to procure food and to get stuff. And if you don't have it, then you can't try it. You can't learn to do it. You just won't have it. Okay. So fishing gear is an overlooked prep, I think. And then my last one is a compass. So obviously, a lot of people don't know anything about navigation. There are people that obviously do, especially if you've been in the military. We were taught navigation. You know how to orient yourself, get a map, get a compass, and you can figure out where you're going, how to use landmarks, all that stuff, how to backtrack, all of that, okay? Super informative. And you might be like, well, what about the rest of us that don't know how to do that, okay? But it's easy. At a minimum, if you have a map and a compass, you can go far. Imagine you're trying to flee, you're trying to go somewhere. You kind of know from school the layout of the United States, where certain states are, that type of thing. If you have a compass that basically tells you just really rough, north, south, west, east, that is huge, okay, to get started at least. Hey, we know we're going east, right? And then you just head east with that compass. Now, eventually you're going to need a map, or maybe you don't. It is possible to do it without a map, you guys. It is possible. Compass, landmarks, but you still have to know a little bit about the United States and where certain things are. But it's possible with just doing it with utilizing signs, right? And signs on roads and knowing which direction certain roads go and things like that will help you navigate towards something, okay? But if something happens, signs, road signs and things like that are destroyed, it can get very difficult, okay? So get you a map, get you an atlas. You should already have this as part of your bug out bag. It's good to have it for your state at a minimum, and then you need it for the whole United States in case you have to migrate, okay? For me, getting Mexico as well, getting Canada as well, to me, those make sense in case you had to migrate, okay, that far, all right? But having a compass, this is a thing that a lot of people don't have. They'll get a map, they have the maps, okay, I know where to go, but then they won't get the compass. And I'm telling you, the compass is money. Some people can get the compass that's on your watch as part of your watch, but I think you need a good old-fashioned military grade compass. I'll link one from the type that I have. I'll see if I can find it on Amazon, military grade compass. And they are expensive, you guys. They're like $80, $90, okay? And maybe they're more now because inflation. We've had ours forever, but maybe they're more now. But I will link it for those that are gonna want it. But it's a must. Is there cheaper versions? Of course there is, okay? I'm just telling you what I'm going with is a military grade old-fashioned compass, okay? Now, those are my 10 emergency preps. Is this an inclusive list? Absolutely not. There's all types of stuff out there. All I did was just, think about a few preps that I think are overlooked or forgotten or just may have overlooked, right? There's a lot of things to get. I was listening to Prepper Now. He was actually, I think this video was talking about, was on his Preparedness Now channel. And he was talking, you guys, about, having almost too much, like preppers, right? We get so into, I need this, I need this, I need everything. And there's a fine line between prepping and being prepared and hoarding. And people ask me, well, how much is too much? And I will say, never, right? You want all of it, always, all the time. You need everything, right? Don't stop. However, be smart, right? He was talking about peanut butter and how he had enough for 18 months. And it was like, no, I need to start cycling through this and not just continue to buy peanut butter. And before you know it, I have just a ton of this and I don't have other things. And I always talk about filling holes and how it's important and how it's easy that you could be the greatest prepper and I have all this stuff. And then I'll see one comment on something and I'm like, oh my goodness, we don't even have that, right? So it's very easy to just really get focused on the things and you just keep doing that. And then you're forgetting about the holes. You're forgetting about some things. And there's very important things on this list that it's like, dang, man, if I didn't have that, I'd be upset. And so that's what I mean by, there's forgotten preps and it's a fine line, right? And so you need to be careful, right? Don't clean out the store, right? Getting 5 years worth of, I don't know, pick an item, pasta or something. And it's not that 5 years is too much and you're a hoarder because you have 5 years worth of pasta. All I'm saying is think about it, recycle that stuff through like he mentioned on his video, right? Be aware of what you have and what you need still and get those things, fill those holes and maybe pull back on the stuff that you're just going super hard in the paint. When the reality is you may never even go through that if you don't have that on a normal rotation in the first place, okay? And so I hope this list helped. I hope even for my senior, preppers that there was something on this list that either you needed or jogged your memory or made you think of another prep that you needed to get. Because several of these things I could have left with a lot of extra things to add to it, like a carbon monoxide alarm to go with the extinguisher, that type of thing. So for those of you that are already thinking through, spit those things out on the comments and I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next video. Take care. Bye.